think we're live. I have so much to tell you, but I have to parse it out into other segments coming up. But anyway, so today, couple things though. I have a couple things. So I watched The Social Dilemma on Netflix the other night about social media. And this is what we're on right now, right? Social media. But so it was really fascinating, actually. I highly recommend it. But it made me think, of course, of Pandora's box. I'm sure somebody said that in the film. And all the downsides of it. And of course, there are upsides too. And it reminded me of Friar Lawrence's speech in Romeo and Juliet, where he talks about every little flower, and I'll give you just a little glimpse, has both good and bad. It has medicine and healing properties, and it has, a lot of them have poison as well. So it's always up to us to choose how we're going to use something. And the reason I feel good about this is because I hope that we're putting knowledge into the world, little wisdom, I hope, and that's why I think Shakespeare is important and why I'm connecting it to healing, because you're not just healing the body with the herbs, you're also healing the brain and putting stuff in there that helps it think better, helps it remember, hones it, sharpens it, makes it a vital organ. You know, we run. Some of us run. I don't really run. I bike ride for our hearts, but we don't really think about how we're taking care of the brain. And, you know, everything needs a little attention. Relationships need attention. Your dinner needs attention. All of that stuff needs attention. You can't just, ignore it and let it go by itself, and which is why we're talking about this particular plant today. So we'll just go, last week was Be Too Chill, if you remember that part. Many will be too chill. See, I don't remember the whole thing. And then many will be too chill and tender. Oh, many will be too chill and tender, and they'll be for the flowery way. Now, my flowers up here, I'm just calling her Hermione for now. I didn't replenish. The oak looks great. The acorn, I read a great thing on Twitter. This guy loves to just sit under a tree and listen to the acorns drop this time of year, and listen to the plink plonk of them plopping. And of course, Shakespeare has a line for that. And all of the other ones look kind of dead because I haven't given them attention. I haven't taken the time to take care of them because I've been completely steeped in writing this chapter for something. So I need to replenish her head, and we're here to replenish all of our heads because I don't know, I dressed up a little bit because I feel like this is the beginning of something. Although given that it's 2020, what is that? What is it the beginning of? So today we're talking about, I posted the plant on Instagram, on social media, the plant that we're going to be talking about. And I posted some ugly pictures of it because people trod on it, walked right over it. It's everywhere, and I didn't know what it was until I wrote the book. Yes, we have no bananas today. There are no bananas in Shakespeare, but there is this, and it is a plantain. And that's going to be what the line of the week is, because I never do the line of the week about the plant of the week, which is crazy. No salve, sir, but a plantain. So maybe that'll get you to remember the plant. No salve, sir, but a plantain. And Shakespeare makes all these jokes about it in Romeo and Juliet and Love's Labour's Lost and all of this about using it as a Band-Aid, because usually, as I said, the leaves are bigger, like this, like that. And you can use it as a Band-Aid. And my mom had a wound on her leg. She'd gotten a cut. And I said to the people who helped take care of her, can you just go out in the yard and get a plantain and put that on there and let's see. And they said, oh, we're not allowed to use herbal medicine. Like, because, yeah, why use nature when you can use a pill and a bunch of other... Okay. So we're going to bring Hannah on now, and we're going to talk about the amazing healing properties this crazy plant has. Hello, Hannah. Good morning. Good afternoon. Oh, you have a fat plantain leaf. You have two. She came prepared. That's great. Yeah, I mean, do you notice that people just walk all over them, and they're everywhere. They're in parks. They're I put on Instagram, it's growing in cracks of the sidewalk and on the verges and, in little medians. Tell us how to heal with the plantain.
You completely hit it on the head. It is one of the most common weeds that you will see anywhere. You will see it, like you said, you see it on footpaths, you see it on waste grounds. The thing with plantain is that it really thrives in compacted soil. So that's why you will always kind of see it on footpaths and anywhere that's anywhere that's well trodden. And if you think about the name, because the Latin is plantago, that comes from the root planter, which means basically the sole of the foot. So when it's trodden on, you get more from it. So, plantar fasciitis, all that kind of thing.
Okay.
So it's sort of sticking kind of with that theme. It's written in various herbal texts that I have, that Native American people used to put the leaves of, because there's two types. There's Plantago major, which is the broad-leafed plantain.
I haven't seen that growing wild, though. That's the one I see.
And then you have Plantago lanceolata, which is that's actually a dandelion leaf you've got there.
Oh my God.
It's a baby dandelion leaf. The Plantago lanceolata leaf has got the ribs all the way down the back. And that's the rib one. And then the major also has the ribs, but in a slightly different style. And the Native American people used to put the broadleaf plantain in the inside of their shoes to stop them from getting inflamed and hot. So it was almost a kind of hide feet remedy. So that's one use for it.
So what can we do with it? We don't eat them, right? We don't tea it. We don't.
Yeah. Well, providing you can find some that hasn't been trodden on.
Right. And as we said before, as Hannah said before, not with near pollution and car exhaust and bus lanes and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Totally. So one of the most common way that you're going to use plantain is as a first aid remedy for insect bites and insect stings. So when it gets to that sort of annoying time of the year when all those little bitty, annoying buzzy things are around and you get mozzied and all the rest of it, you pick a leaf and you scrunch it up in your fingers and you squeeze all the juice out of it and you rub it on the insect sting. And it'll turn your hand green a little bit, but that's okay. But that will act as but it'll take down the inflammation and it'll take down the swelling. Alternatively, what you can do, and going right back to what you were saying about the Band-Aid thing, because you can absolutely do that. And when you get really, really long lanceolate leaves, you wrap it around your finger like a Band-Aid, and you can wrap it around several times and tuck it in, and you've got yourself a little plaster, as we call it here in the UK, but a Band-Aid, as you'll call it over there. And then you've got a rudimentary first aid kit.
Yes, they call it a plaster. We call it a Band-Aid after the brand, in the same way that we call Kleenex, and they call it tissue, but they call it a Hoover, and we call it a vacuum cleaner. So we're not totally branded up. But yes, I had read that they could be used as Band-Aids because they have an astringent property. So I guess, what's amazing to me is somebody was dealing with all these plants back in medieval times or even before and said, hey, this plant is good for X, Y, and Z healing. There's is it Dioscorides wrote in Greek this huge herbal about all these different things that you can use the plants for. So, and most people pretty much copied him. But I didn't look up in Dioscorides what he suggested for plantain. But yeah, a Band-Aid, I just think it's amazing that you can put a leaf on. Now, how you're going to stick it on and keep it on there's the challenge. And that's where the corporation stepped in and went, we know how to handle this. So you could just put the plantain leaf on and then put the plaster over it.
Well, when you pick the lanceolate ones, they do have a little bit of a stem on, so you can wrap it around and then use the stem to tuck in. And this isn't going to work. Bear with me. Oh no, it is going to work. There we go.
Look at that. You have a Band-Aidless Band-Aid. That's awesome. Just make sure you just get cuts on your fingers, not on your leg like my mother. But when I go down and see her, you can bet I'm going to just plaster her up with plantains and see how it does. You know, I love experiments anyway. And that's what we want to do here is experiment with this stuff and see what works for you. I think one of the reasons that sort of medicine and the chemical aspect took over from nature is because, one, is it faster handling? Do you think it's just fast? Is it speed that made pills take over from, all of this stuff?
I have no idea. I think it's just modern society developing and maybe thinking, maybe that's a bit old fashioned, but it still works.
It still works, and I forgot to mention I'm wearing these cherry earrings today. I found them and I thought they were so funny because I found out that Queen Elizabeth wore cherry earrings, and big fan of Queen Elizabeth the first and the second, but I don't know if she wears cherry earrings the second one. But anyway, she lived a long time, and there's this perception sort of generally that people died early, but obviously people who had less money or disease, but and they did have plague, obviously. There's been a lot of talk about that. But they did use natural healing. She lived to 74. This one woman I was writing about, Lettuce Nolles, lived to 91. A lot of people lived into their 70s. So it's not that natural healing didn't work. I just want to kind of readjust our perceptions of that, if I can. But and so, is there anything else that a plantain can do that we haven't? Okay, tell us.
Oh, yes. So your other way that you are going to get a really good benefit, particularly sort of in those spring, summer months when all the pollen's starting to fly around, is that it's a really great antihistamine. So you can pick either the broadleaf or the lanceolate leaves, and steep them and make them into an infusion, a tea. And then drink that as part of your regime to help to reduce your haver and to relieve your allergies. But then it's got a bigger use for the respiratory system, because generally throughout the year it also helps to kind of reduce the mucus secretions, so reduces catarrh and colds and sinusitis, and it's a little bit of an expectorant too. So respiratory wise it's wonderful. And then if you're feeling really brave, and it's maybe the first port of call, but maybe not something to use long term because you'd need to get it sorted out. But if you have a mouth infection or a gum infection, you can actually chew the leaves, sort of chew them into a ball and kind of pack them into your gum. Again, astringing takes out the heat, takes down the swelling, and can sort of take out a little bit of a pus as well. So as a kind of a first, if you've got nothing else to help with your gum infection, that will be a good start.
So this is kind of an all-purpose healer: external, internal, swelling, cooling, inflammation, astringent, allergies. I mean, this is the weed to have around, right? this is the weed that you want. And it's funny to me that there's actors who think that it's a banana. They don't look stuff up. But anyway, so thank you so much for this. And like I said, I put a bunch of pictures on them. And when our brilliant Nikki B, I hope he doesn't mind me calling him that, jazzes these up, we'll add pictures of them as well. Because if you see the pictures that I put in Instagram right before this, it is with the spikes sticking up. So you can tell that I had the right plant. It does look like dandelion green, so you're probably right. Sorry about that. Yes, the spikes, the spires, whatever they are. The line of the week. Oh, no salve, sir, but a plantain. So super easy. And go look for a plantain just as you're walking around. Once you notice them, you will see them everywhere. And the nice thing to remember about that is that healing is everywhere. Your health is everywhere, and the earth and nature all are there to support your healing. And the Shakespeare, as I said, anchors us in wisdom. This anchors us in plants and healing, and that's why we use social media to try and to foster the good. Anyway, thanks for tuning in, Hannah. We won't see you next week, right? Will we?
Busy teaching next week.
Okay, so not next week. So next week is going to be, I don't want to use the hackneyed term aromatherapy. So we're going to talk about what scents do. Okay, see you next week. See you in 2 weeks.